Okay, back with you guys here on the app and online. We apologize for that due to all the conditions here with airspace and everything else going on. I'll just be honest with you guys. We took the wrong freeway. We thought this suspect was going eastbound on the 91. He was not. He continued southbound on the 5, made a U-turn, and now he's coming northbound on the 5, but he's in the southbound lanes. This guy is in the median going against oncoming traffic. A very dangerous situation coming up on the 605 interchange here, but it's anyone's guess as far as where this suspect's going to go, what his intentions are, because of the extremely dangerous situation that we have here with this wrong-way driver. A wrong-way driver now taking an on-ramp under one of the overpasses here, Magnolia, and we're continuing on the southbound 5. At the very least here, he's in the shoulder. That gives me some hope that this driver is not suicidal. He's not trying to hit anybody. And I haven't seen him come out under that bridge there. Oh, there he is. Continuing under the bridge and continuing on the northbound 5. He seems to be slowing down under these bridges as if to try and avoid being seen. You saw the LAPD air unit going through the shot there. What's that? Yeah. There's a lot of cars, a lot of oncoming traffic. As my pilot here, Aldo, is pointing out, as he's in the carpool lane, LAPD, any trailing units are not going to be following him as he's going northbound in the southbound lanes. Oncoming traffic flying towards him. As I widen out the shot here, I don't know what this guy is going to do. He seems to be dodging the oncoming traffic, as I said, apparently, not suicidal, but who knows at this point. A lot of very fast cars with no idea, what's to come as they head southbound on the 5 through the Buena Park area. You're driving along in the carpool lane. Maybe you have your Tesla on autopilot. I don't know what a Tesla would do in these situations. It's not something that you would expect to have a wrong-way vehicle coming at you here. Now we see him here going under Beach Boulevard. At least, again, he is on the shoulder for now. So, he doesn't appear to be trying to cause an accident. He's just apparently trying to get away at this point. I'm going to work on my radios here to see if we can get a little bit more information on what you see a CHP unit there going through the shot in the correct direction of traffic. I'm going to tune my radios here to CHP to see what they are doing here. As far as I know, this is still an LAPD situation, an LAPD case that they are handling. An LAPD air unit, I believe, is still overhead. And we're staying with the suspect going northbound in the southbound lanes. Oh, into the carpool lane now. But this isn't an open carpool lane. This is a construction area. The suspect coming to a stop facing the wrong direction on the 5 freeway. Oncoming traffic coming in extremely fast. This suspect has to be, this driver has to be sitting there pondering his or her next move and how they ended up in this situation. But the driver now coming to a stop on the median shoulder of the 5 freeway, apparently putting it in reverse here a little bit, reversing with oncoming traffic just still flying in the opposite direction. Bear with us here, trying to gather some more information. You have LAPD in the northbound lanes trying to stop traffic, and they're making their way into the median. This suspect feels the pressure, and you can, imagine he's probably going to try and make a move here. He's has a fender just hanging out in the fast lane, and you can see traffic slowing down. They're probably thinking, you know, what in the world is going on here with this car just dangling in the fast lane, trying to figure out what they're going to do. The suspect now backing into the center divide. LAPD still behind the suspect. The majority of these units here on scene now, LAPD. You can see at the top middle of your screen, CHP working their way into the scene here to try and handle the traffic situation of it. Just gathering some more information from CHP here as CHP scrambles to get on scene. CHP units from the Santa Fe Springs area rushing to the scene here, trying to stop all lanes. And this becomes a situation where CHP needs to get on scene here and control the traffic aspect of this, because now we have a suspect facing the wrong way, still with a working vehicle that that could go any direction here. LAPD, at least one unit, getting out of their vehicle with guns drawn. These are going to be officers from LAPD Newton Station. You could see CHP unit out of his car on the left side, LAPD units rolling up on the right side, more LAPD units from Newton Station rolling in. Motor officers rolling in. I can only imagine what is going through this driver's mind as they sit there facing the wrong direction, kind of stuck in the southbound 5 in Buena Park, just past Beach Boulevard, facing northbound. And now we see some movement. The suspect driver rolling forward a little bit towards the median, backing up, traffic still coming by, making a little bit of a turn to the right, and now facing officers head on. This driver had the opportunity, I think, to continue on in the southbound direction, but the driver just decided to maneuver his vehicle around to face officers. And you can see officers trying to get behind their door, unsure of what this driver's intentions are at this point. I don't think I've seen anything like this in quite some time, where an a driver involved in a pursuit turns around to face officers, apparently purposefully. I'm monitoring my radios now, just gathering a little bit more information. We're monitoring CHP now to see what their plans are as far as the traffic goes. LAPD is not going to want to make any moves right now with traffic going by behind the suspect. They are working with CHP right now to stop traffic. You can see on the northbound lanes, CHP has stopped traffic. In the southbound lanes, my understanding is CHP is trying to continue to stop traffic, and it looks like they have. One more car just edging by past the driver, and that looks to be it, at least for traffic in the southbound lanes, and that's exactly what LAPD wants. They want to have the area behind the suspect be completely free of anybody that could get hurt if the worst happens, where shots have to be fired. Some additional information here that we're hearing is that this may be not just a stolen vehicle, but a carjacking. So the driver of this vehicle is now wanted for carjacking this vehicle. We're not sure of the circumstances of that carjacking. We haven't heard anything about this suspect being armed, but that is certainly a worry, and that's why LAPD is being very, very careful with this. And this vehicle that the suspect is in, it still works. It has nothing that I've seen wrong with it, any sort of mechanical difficulties that would prevent this suspect from driving away. Anytime I pause like that, guys, it's just, you know, I'm hearing some new information on the LAPD or CHP radios. So if I do that, just know that that's what's going on. We're hearing CHP now talking about they're wondering how many occupants are in this vehicle, and we just heard LAPD say that they believe there is only one occupant in the vehicle. That has been a question that LAPD has been trying to figure out because the windows have been tinted. So for the majority of this pursuit, LAPD didn't know how many suspects were in the vehicle. Now, another bit of traffic we just heard, radio traffic from LAPD, is that there are workers here in the center divide a little bit further down. They are not quite in the line of fire, but they are in a very dangerous spot. So CHP just put out some information on the radio to get someone over to that construction site and get those workers out of there, because that is not a safe location. And just look at this scene here now. You have the suspect driver reversing now, facing southbound in the southbound 5. CHP on the left, LAPD on the right, working together here in, I believe this is going to be Buena Park, just north of Artesia on the 5 freeway, and the driver backing up. He has it in reverse, and he's just backing up in the center divide. And as we just mentioned, there's a construction site with people back here. So we have to watch out for that. And now the driver's on the move again. The driver's on the move, going southbound in the northbound lanes at a very slow rate of speed. You see LAPD units working to get back to their cars, unsure of, you know, really what will happen next. As we're all just watching this live, this suspect presenting extremely erratic behavior. Now we're just stopped on the 5 freeway southbound. Some of these LAPD units are now getting up behind the suspect now, opening their doors with guns drawn. The suspect was in the median, making a U-turn, and now he's stopped. Rolling forward again. Just an extremely unusual situation here. These pursuits, you never know how they're going to end. And this is one of the more interesting ones that I've seen, where you have a driver not really coming to a complete stop, but just acting extremely bizarre with a vehicle that works, that apparently this person may have carjacked, we're hearing. And that vehicle is in working condition, as you can see. He continues to maneuver forward, southbound on the 5. The 5 has been completely shut down in both directions, although they may let traffic continue on in the northbound direction now that we see this suspect continuing southbound. So now this is turning from a standoff situation back into a pursuit, because the driver is continuing southbound. You have a lot of people in the northbound lanes that have gotten out of their car to see what's going on, to shoot some video. That's not a very safe position to be in. We would advise against that. And you can see here, if you just saw that with me right now, there's a hand out the window. This driver is gesturing towards officers, And now a LAPD officer is getting really close, looking to do a pit maneuver there, and that LAPD unit made contact with the vehicle, but it was not a successful pit, and the driver is continuing now, southbound, swerving back and forth. The freeway's been closed for quite some time, so you don't have any traffic here, but that LAPD unit is getting really close there, trying to get that successful pit, and now we are exiting the 5 freeway. We'll get that cross street for you here in just a second. But we're in full pursuit mode here now on the 5 southbound, just north of the 91 interchange. This is going to be Beach Boulevard. This was the exit for Beach Boulevard, excuse me. Driver making a right turn now in the west direction, on the wrong side of the road. So we thought we saw erratic behavior. Now we're continuing that erratic behavior on the wrong side of the road in a pit maneuver by LAPD. Turns this car around. The suspect vehicle is turned around, and LAPD trying to pin this suspect in on Beach Boulevard. We'll see if that actually disabled the car. It may have, it may not have, because we're seeing the driver back up a little bit. He looks like he's continuing to back up a little bit. I think that driver still has some more oomph left to continue this pursuit, unless he's just rolling backwards now. And there we go, continuing backwards. And making a U-turn here. Now we're going in the correct direction on Beach Boulevard, back in full pursuit mode, westbound here. LAPD getting back in their vehicles now and continuing with the pursuit. Now we're making a southbound turn here. We'll get a cross street for you there in just a second in the Buena Park area. And it's just like this driver was completely unfazed by that pit maneuver and is just continuing on like nothing happened. You'll have to excuse the foggy image here. We're dealing with a lot of, not necessarily fog in the area, but haze. So that makes the shot not quite what we would like it to be. But we're able to continue on and follow this pursuit as the driver now comes up on another major and makes a right turn here. LAPD still behind this driver now, back in the northbound direction. Looks like we're on Western, coming up on 9th, continuing through that intersection. Go Booth, I can hear you. Copy. Standing by. Yeah, guys, we're in the Buena Park area, going in the wrong side of the road here. It looks like this is going to be on Western Avenue in Buena Park, and this has been an unbelievable pursuit. We've been on the 5 freeway. These are LAPD Newton officers behind this driver. So this started in the city of Los Angeles and moved its way down into the Buena Park area. And on its way down the 5 freeway, we've seen the driver come to a complete stop on the freeway, go the wrong way. This driver was initially going southbound on the 5 and then turned around to come northbound in the southbound lanes, making a lot of close calls with vehicles in the carpool lane. And then after that, we saw this vehicle come to a complete stop, and it was a standoff for a while in the middle of the 5 freeway. So the 5 through Santa Ana, you're going to be facing a lot of backup there because it was shut down for quite some time. And now this pursuit is continuing through surface streets, Franklin Street now in Buena Park, but still LAPD. We're hearing this is a stolen vehicle. a possible carjacking suspect. So not only stolen, but that the person driving actually carjacked the vehicle. We're working on more details on that. We don't know if the driver is armed. We do know that they believe there's only one person in the car. So just one person that officers can see so far. But that erratic behavior was continuing for most of this pursuit. This driver not afraid to go the wrong way on city streets and even on freeways. We've seen a little bit more recently in this pursuit as the suspect is making a left turn now on Beach Boulevard. I believe that's going to be back towards the 5 freeway. The suspect is actually gesturing out the window towards officers, and I'm going to zoom in here really tight. Excuse the dark picture. We're dealing with a lot of haze in the area, but it looks like the window is rolled up now, but earlier the suspect was actually gesturing out the window towards officers. So a very erratic pursuit here, very erratic behavior, and we're keeping an eye on it. If you are in the Buena Park area, stay inside and stay away from Beach Boulevard if you can. Yeah, we saw 2 of those actually, as LAPD is still very close behind this suspect on Beach Boulevard. We saw LAPD attempt to do a pit maneuver on the 5 freeway. After the suspect has been stopped for some time, the suspect turned around from going the wrong way and began continuing southbound on the 5. LAPD made contact with the rear bumper of this vehicle and did a partial pit. So it, the suspect car kind of wobbled for a little bit, but then continued on. Then on city streets in Buena Park, LAPD tried to pit maneuver again and actually turned the vehicle around so the driver was facing officers. The driver put the vehicle into reverse, turned around, and continued on in the pursuit like nothing had happened. So this kind of behavior, this kind of erratic behavior that we're seeing from this driver is very dangerous, and LAPD is going to want to stay right behind this suspect to make sure he doesn't get away. So we're still in Buena Park, Beach Boulevard, going in the northeast direction. Durango Drive was the last cross street. I'm just going to widen out here to get a feel for the area. You can see the LAPD helicopter still overhead. The next cross street here is going to be Rosecrans. So we're still Beach Boulevard, eastbound Rosecrans. A lot of wide open city streets here. And that's a good thing because we've seen this driver drive very erratically in some very tight streets in residential neighborhoods. We saw this driver up in Commerce earlier today in some very narrow streets, but driving very erratically there as well. So we're seeing this driver just have an absolute disregard for public safety as we continue here Beach Boulevard east, in the northeast direction. Right, exactly. That is exactly right. The behavior from this driver that we've seen so far is just, you don't like to see this. You hate to see it, and when a driver behaves like that in these situations, it really makes you wonder how this thing is going to end. Now we see this driver going a little bit slower, continuing on Beach Boulevard, staying in the right lane. This behavior kind of varies from what this driver did earlier. Now he's making a U-turn. We've seen a lot of those. We've seen a lot of U-turns going northbound, southbound, and now we've seen him go eastbound and westbound on Beach Boulevard. In these situations, it's kind of like the driver is just aimlessly trying to drive around, enjoying his last few minutes of freedom. But with LAPD this close behind, and you see the LAPD air unit staying very close overhead, it's very unlikely that this suspect is going to get away. So at this point, It's just a matter of he or she enjoying those last few minutes of freedom. Bear with us here. As I mentioned on the online stream, we're dealing with a lot of haze in the area. So if you notice the picture looks a little foggy, that is why. It's not necessarily fog, but just a lot of haze. So we're all dealing with that up in the air. The LAPD ground unit is also dealing with that down at a lower altitude. The ground units behind the vehicle are not necessarily dealing with that, so they're going to try and stay really tight behind and keep an eye on where this driver goes. Now apparently having enough of that erratic driving and just going at the normal flow of traffic and following most rules, even though we saw that illegal U-turn earlier. But that's kind of the least of our worries after we've seen what this driver has done. Coming up to a red light now, and actually coming to a complete stop. This is going to be Beach and Rosecrans. We've been here before. We saw the driver come in the other direction, and we turned around and we're coming back in the west direction, about west on Beach Boulevard. And the driver kind of waited for a little bit, looked both ways. Almost ridiculous when you consider what this driver was doing earlier on. Now he appears to be right, just incredible danger, especially in those moments when the driver was going northbound in the southbound lane, in the carpool lane. I mentioned that he or she didn't appear to be trying to cause an accident because the driver was swerving to avoid oncoming vehicles, but it was definitely not safe, and anything could have happened in those moments. Now we're seeing another U-turn, continuing on the other direction now in Beach Boulevard, or on Beach Boulevard. Yeah, we have a lot of units from LAPD behind this driver. We saw CHP join in on the activity when this was back on the 5 freeway, but we never saw the suspect. We never saw CHP take over the pursuit. This has always been LAPD handling this, which is a little bit surprising because we're very far from LAPD's area. These are officers from LAPD's Newton Division, and they are staying extremely close with this vehicle, even though we're pretty far out of their area now. We're coming up on another intersection here. This is back to Beach Boulevard and Rosecrans, making a right turn. So now we're seeing that kind of behavior now, where it appears the suspect may be familiar with this area, or maybe not, but you know, he's gotten familiar enough because he's been driving around for a few minutes now that the suspect feels comfortable just kind of staying in the area. And we're seeing an LAPD unit make a little bit of a run on that vehicle there. My pilot, Aldo, is going to get around these trees here and get us a better shot. Please excuse the fog there, TOC, and the bright picture here. We're just shooting through the fog here. But you saw that LAPD unit make a run to try and do a pit maneuver, and then every time that has happened in the past, this driver just continues on and speeds up a little bit to get away. We've even seen this driver swerve out of the way and actually turn left and turn right to avoid a pit maneuver, and that's something that we don't usually see. That tells me that this driver is willing to do anything to get away right now. Yeah, we've been in a period of relatively slow speed the past few minutes. You guys have been with us even after all of that action on the freeway, and now it appears the driver is now coming through Making a very unexpected U-turn now. Excuse me, I'm going to send it back down to you while we deal with something with our NOC department. Nothing. Yes, hi, we're back with you now. Still on Rosecrans, working on our ability here to give you a little bit of a clearer picture here. LAPD, you know, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 units now behind him, 5 units now behind him, continuing through Rosecrans and back at Rosecrans and Beach Boulevard. This seems to be an intersection that this suspect really likes because this driver keeps coming back. He keeps getting a little distance away from this intersection and keeps coming back. Now you see a LAPD unit getting up close, and you can tell that suspect kind of felt that LAPD unit behind him and decided to make a U-turn here. Now we have traffic. The driver coming to a complete stop here behind a big rig, and he finds a hole on the right and continues on the shoulder. We've seen this driver drive on the sidewalk, on the shoulder. This driver is not afraid to do illegal things like running a red light right there to get through to get through the intersection as we continue on Beach Boulevard, passing Rosecrans again. Correct. We don't know if this driver is armed, as we saw this person kind of swerve around another vehicle here, and this vehicle is awfully close to this pursuit, a very dangerous position to be in. Now, this black sedan, not supposed to be involved with this pursuit, but just kind of riding along with this pursuit. Extremely dangerous behavior. You see this, the suspect driver trying to swerve to get away. This might be one of those situations where someone is trying to shoot video for YouTube, which is very, extremely dangerous here. And you see that black car here wasn't previously involved in the pursuit, now trying to talk to the suspect, or at least trying to get the attention of the suspect. And now we're coming to a complete stop now, Beach Boulevard. Again, excuse the fog. We're trying to manage the air traffic in the area to try and stay as close as we can to this pursuit. But now, we have this other element to what was already a crazy pursuit, continuing on Beach Boulevard, passing Hillsborough Drive. Now that other car that decided to involve his or herself in this pursuit is now driving off. LAPD staying with the suspect driver that this pursuit has been all about for these going on more than an hour now. I would hope that LAPD sends someone to scold that other driver and talk to them about not being involved in police activities, because that is a very, very dangerous thing. That person might have gotten what they might think is cool video for YouTube, but that is not appropriate behavior here, as we see the suspect making another U-turn and going towards his or her favorite intersection. We're still on Beach Boulevard, approaching Rosecrans. Again, now we're at a little bit of a high rate of speed now, and LAPD and the LAPD air unit staying very close behind here, even though we're now kind of crossing between Fullerton and Buena Park. It's still LAPD handling this pursuit. When this was on the freeway, we did see CHP get involved to shut down traffic, but for the most part, it was still LAPD. As we see the suspect come up on a lot of traffic here, I believe he stayed on the shoulder there. We see LAPD trying to manage the traffic. My pilot, Aldo, trying to manage all of the air traffic up here as well to see if we can get around these trees here. And there you go. There's our driver in the right turn lane getting back into traffic now. LAPD not missing a beat, staying behind there. And there's a spike strip. There's a spike strip. And the driver comes to a complete stop. He has his reverse lights on, backing into a patrol car, making contact with a patrol car, and continuing around the spike strip. I think there's a possibility that the front right tire might have gotten a little bit of a touch of that spike strip, but for the most part, I don't think that spike strip is going to do much here, as this suspect is continuing now westbound on Beach Boulevard. Right, exactly, and you saw those white reverse lights come on, and the suspect then backed up, which frankly doesn't surprise me after everything we've seen in this pursuit so far. The driver here isn't afraid to back up towards towards patrol cars that are right behind him. Stand by here. We're dealing with a little bit of a transmission issue that I'm going to send back down to you for just a few seconds while we figure that out. Yes, back with you now. We're taking a little bit of different roads now. We saw the suspect make a turn off of Beach Boulevard, and now we're continuing on Alondra Boulevard. LAPD still behind the suspect here, continuing in a little bit of a westbound direction. This is one of those ones that you just you think you can predict it, and then it turns out that you can't predict it. We thought the suspect was going to hang out in Buena Park, as we see LAPD try and make a move towards another pit, and there you have the suspect driver making a move to get out of the way again, and LAPD has to back off. It's a very dangerous situation where LAPD has to weigh the safety of the public with wanting to bring this very dangerous pursuit to an end. We saw that spike strip attempt earlier, but I don't think that spike strip made contact with any of the tires on this vehicle as we're continuing westbound on Alondra. You're exactly right. We're seeing the same driving behavior that we've seen from this driver before, speeding up, slowing down, swerving left and right. That tells me that he's having no problems with his tires as we go over the 5 freeway again, back in the Santa Fe Springs area. So yeah, we kind of are staying in an area where this suspect is familiar with now. There's the 5 freeway right below the Alondra overpass. So it's really hard to tell if this driver is from this area or if this driver just became familiar with this area in the course of this pursuit and is now just kind of staying in the area, but now continuing on Alondra in a place where this driver hasn't been before, now west of the 5 in the Santa Fe Springs area. And you can see those LAPD units from Newton Division very far out of their area, but they this pursuit started in the LAPD area, and they want to continue it, and they want to bring it to an end. We haven't heard anything about additional spike strip locations, but we're sure that LAPD is trying to work on that and just kind of see what their next move is going to be as far as bringing this pursuit to an end. And we're coming up on another intersection here, making a right turn on, I believe that's going to be Carmenita, and not making a right turn, deciding to stay westbound on Alondra. So there you see that continued erratic driving. I don't know if this driver is trying to trick officers, thinking he's going to lose them, because that's not going to happen. But it just goes along with everything we've seen in this pursuit so far, merging left and right, trying to avoid some of these big rig trailers in the area. But LAPD not phased, staying very close behind this pursuit. Yep, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. They're getting up close again and backing off again. Yeah, the majority of these LAPD officers are going to be pit approved. We've seen them attempt it once or twice before, as we see the driver now going in the wrong way. We've made a turn on Bloomfield, now in the Downey-Norwalk area, still continuing in the wrong direction, northbound. LAPD staying in the correct lanes, but still trying to keep a close eye on this driver, now in the wrong direction. Oncoming traffic, they're coming towards the driver, and we're going to see him make another U-turn. This driver seems to be very good at making U-turns, because whenever he gets in a pickle, he just makes a U-turn and gets right out of there, and we just saw that right now. Another spike strip being thrown out by an LAPD officer. I think that maybe got the left rear tire. If we're lucky, that's what it got. I don't know if that's going to be enough to bring this pursuit to a stop, but it might slow this thing down as the suspect continues now under the helicopter here. You're seeing us have to widen out the shot as we're keeping track of all the air traffic in the area and maneuvering around all these U-turns that this driver is doing. Back to Alondra Boulevard now, making a right turn onto Alondra. Now he's directly under us right now, so I'm going to have to keep a wide shot as we track this driver going in the northbound direction now. My pilot Aldo doing a great job maneuvering through the haze and the fog, and you can see that one LAPD unit staying right behind this driver, now continuing on, still on Alondra. We'll see what this guy does next, but at this point it's kind of unpredictable. Yeah, we another U-turn from this driver here, and another set of spike strips being thrown out by LAPD. That was under the trees here, so I'm not sure what happened with that one. We'll just have to see what develops as far as the way that this driver drives, and if the driver gets to a point where he can no longer do some of these maneuvers and making U-turns and going at high speeds and swerving left to right. We are doing our best to try and keep up with where this driver is going. Now, again, the wrong way on Alondra. And every time he does one of those U-turns, we kind of have to back off a little bit, wait for the police helicopter to go in that direction, and then we can follow. So every time the vehicle goes in another direction. Oh, oncoming traffic there, a big rig, very dangerous as we look through some of these trees here. But every time this driver makes a U-turn, we kind of have to reposition in the air to get a better picture here. So you see it get a little hazy. Very, very dangerous here, very dangerous here. Lots of oncoming traffic behind the trees, and there he comes out of the trees. Like I said when he was doing this on the freeway, we've seen him do this before, but he doesn't seem to want to cause an accident. He seems to just want to evade police. So he's not making moves towards these other vehicles. He's doing very dangerous things that could result in a very tragic accident, but he's not going out of his way to cause an accident here as we have oncoming traffic. They're making a U-turn here, and the driver doing a tight right turn to continue on through the intersection, thankfully now in the right direction on Alondra Boulevard in the Santa Fe Springs area. Definitely not. Definitely not. We've seen it throughout this pursuit. He's had no problem going the wrong way on the freeway, on surface streets, going at high speeds, slow speeds. Anything you can think of, this driver doesn't have any problems with. And because this is a stolen car, it's not this person's car if he causes any damage to it. So that kind of plays into this whole issue as well. As we maneuver around the trees here now in the Cerritos area, Carmenita Road is what we're on now, and now that the driver made a turn in a different direction, we're trying to maneuver the helicopter to catch back up to it as we come up on a different intersection now. And we'll see what this driver does, kind of slowing down. At least he, hopefully looked both ways and continued on as the light turned green. And we're continuing southbound on Carmenita, now in Cerritos. Well, since as we go through another red light, they're running a red light. Since one of those most recent spike strips happened, I've noticed a little bit of a slowdown in how this driver is behaving and how this driver is maneuvering. So one can only hope that one of those spike strips may have made a little bit of an impact on at least one of those tires, and that's kind of all we can hope for right now. We don't really know at this point if one of those spike strips made contact, and LAPD doesn't know either. They just kind of have to wait and see. We're continuing on Carmenita Boulevard through, I believe that's going to be Long Beach, and luckily that was a green light there. Not sure if this one was, but now we're picking up the pace a little bit. So that kind of goes against what I just said, where I thought he was kind of slowing down, and now we're back to picking up the pace, but at least he's staying in, he or she, we don't know, is staying in one lane and not, going out of his or her way to be very erratic. Although, just as I say that, swerving into the left turn lane. This has been one of those ones, like I said, that you think you have it figured out, and then the driver does something again that is unbelievable. Going through an intersection, that's going to be Orangethorpe still on Carmenita going through that intersection there. LAPD staying right behind no matter what as we continue now in the southbound direction. I'm trying to zoom in and get a look at some of those tires to see if we notice any of them are flat or if there's any damage, anything of that nature. I can't really see anything from our vantage point here, but we see the parting of the seas there, some of that traffic just trying to get out of the way, and that is the right thing to do, not like what we saw earlier with that black sedan trying to get involved. Definitely don't want to see that. Hope that doesn't happen again. But now here we are going about 50 miles an hour. This might be in the La Palma area now, coming up on another intersection. Looks like a green light, and LAPD staying very close behind. That's what we believe. We're working to get official confirmation on that, but that is what LAPD has been telling us so far. That is the information that they're working with, is that they've, this was reported as a stolen vehicle, but there may have been a carjacking that led up to this vehicle being stolen. We don't know if it was an armed carjacking or if the suspect is was or still is armed. We're working on those details, but anytime you have a carjacking occur, that definitely raises the stakes, and it makes LAPD very much want to take this suspect into custody, especially after all of this dangerous driving we've seen. Now on a little bit of a smaller road here, going through some greenery still in the Cerritos area. This, I believe, is going to be Del Amo. But LAPD, even as we get further and further from the LA area, LAPD staying right with it. Yeah, you definitely do, because this has been one of those ones, as we've said before, another spike strip there, LAPD dropping another spike strip there, and I think that got at least 2 tires here, but that definitely spooked the driver as he speeds up a little bit around traffic going through the center median here, and that's when this gets really scary, because when LAPD gets up close to the driver, when they make moves on the driver to attempt a pit, we see this person drive even more erratically than we've been seeing before. And that's a very scary situation, but at least we think that that spike strip made impact on at least 2 of the tires, so hopefully that will bring a change on this driver's behavior and maybe slow this thing down a bit. Yeah, that is, of course, the goal that LAPD wants to do here to put this driver on flat tires so he can slow down and eventually come to a stop. But we still see the same behavior as we've been seeing in this pursuit, going in one direction for about a mile or two and then making a U-turn, and going in another direction for a mile or two and then making another U-turn after that. And that is kind of been the MO. Another spike strip there, got me on my words there, but that one looked like it was another hit there. So we see LAPD really using all of their resources spike strip wise, now that we're seeing a lot of repetitive motion back and forth on some of these roadways, and hopefully we're going to start seeing a change in behavior as we maneuver around these trees here. Hopefully we're going to see a change of behavior as it's pretty much very apparent that at least I'd say 2 of those spike strips made impact with the vehicle. And now we're coming to a little bit of a slowdown here, now a creep. Yep. We're trying to get a closer look here as we look through the haze. You guys have probably noticed a little bit of a hazy picture. It's a very hazy day out in LA, but as I punch in the camera on that front left tire, it does look a little bit flat to me. So that would be a good sign, and that might be why this driver is now slowing down to a creep on Del Amo Boulevard, but a very dangerous situation now as we have oncoming traffic, and LAPD doesn't want to make any moves or do anything with that oncoming traffic in the line of fire right there. And now, what do we have here? We have a pickup truck with a driver that has just jumped out of his car and basically blocked the flow of traffic for this pursuit, and that might bring it to a stop. We really don't want to see people get involved or put themselves or their cars in positions to get involved with this, with pursuits, but I think we've just seen that. We saw a driver in this gray pickup truck park his pickup truck in the wrong way and get out and run away. And now we've seen the driver of the pursuit vehicle come to a complete stop, making a little bit of a turn there. We've seen this guy get on sidewalks before. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This doesn't surprise me after what we've seen in this pursuit so far. The driver hasn't hesitated to get onto sidewalks to get around, and there that guy now getting back in his truck, and he wants his truck back and he wants to be able to drive away, but I think LAPD is going to want to have some words with him after that. And now the suspect driver backing up his vehicle. A LAPD officer has his rifle out. This could come to a very dangerous end here, because whenever you have a suspect using his vehicle to hit anybody or anything, that becomes a very dangerous situation for LAPD. And as we saw a couple minutes ago, it looks like that left front tire is going to be flat. So now this very erratic pursuit driver is dealing with a vehicle that finally is incapable of some of the things that he or she wants to do. You see LAPD, again, officers from the Newton Division moving up very close with guns drawn. They are barking out orders at this driver. but this driver in the past has not been afraid to throw it in reverse and try and get out of here that way. I see some of those lights blinking there. I don't think those are the reverse lights. Those might just be the hazard lights, and it appears we've come to a stop now here, at least for the time being. Yes, we're still on Del Amo in the Cerritos area, and you see this is the driver and his truck that earlier tried to bring this pursuit to a stop. Very dangerous behavior there. We don't want to encourage that at all. But still on Del Amo, LAPD has their guns drawn, and I'm going to widen out the shot here and just see what's going on further down. Hopefully LAPD is working on stopping traffic coming in the opposite direction. I see people making a U-turn there, so that's a good sign. Hopefully we don't see any other vehicles try to come this way. And now this becomes a little bit of a standoff situation. And just as I say that, the driver applies a little bit of gas and is now continuing to crawl further down Del Amo with at least one flat tire. Yeah, this looks like maybe mid 2010, 2015 Honda Civic, and I don't think they are a Honda Accord, and I don't think they supply run flats for this model, so that would be very surprising to me if that were the case. But we've only seen, since those spike strips were able to make contact with this driver's tires, we've only seen this driver be able to crawl around for short distances and move forward a little bit and then come to a stop. But this was also behavior that we've seen earlier in the pursuit. We saw something very similar when this driver came to a stop as he was going the wrong way on the 5 freeway. The driver was going the wrong way, came to a stop, and just sat there, turned his car around to face officers, and then drove away. Yeah, Colleen, you're exactly right. Anytime you see that green-looking barrel, those are going to be non-lethal rounds, and that's exactly what LAPD is trying to do in this situation. We did hear that there were tinted windows on this vehicle, so it's going to be a little hard for LAPD to see what's going on. So one of the tactics they use is they can actually use those non-lethal rounds not to try and hit the suspect, but to try and blow out a window, just so they can get a better look inside and see what's going on and what they're dealing with here. Continuing forward now, it looks like one... Yep, it looks like they might try to do another pit here. LAPD trying once, trying twice, and you can see now pinning the driver into other lanes there, and the driver is continuing on. This guy has no intention of stopping and will do whatever he can to drive out of a pit, and we see this lead LAPD unit again, another harder pit, pushing the driver from the rear, but that also appears to not have any effect. This car with multiple flat tires is now continuing through the intersection of Del Amo and Bloomfield. Now we see him come to a stop again. LAPD racing to get right behind the suspect. Yep, on the wrong side exactly. So LAPD has to be very careful about crossfire. They are having the air unit look down the street, and as I widen out the shot, oh, that was not what I wanted to see, guys. There's a lot of oncoming traffic there, a lot of people in the way, and this becomes a very, very dangerous situation for LAPD, and you can see they have one of their officers, that looks like a sheriff's deputy unit, there trying to stop traffic for them. Yeah, you are absolutely right, Colleen. They are trying to clear the intersection and get any pedestrians just kind of out of the area, and you probably are going to see one of those sheriff's deputies try and run down the road here and try and get these other cars to maybe make U-turns and get out of the way, or have these drivers get out of their vehicle to get out of the way. And you see someone with a truck there just jumping onto the median and getting out of the way, and that's the safer way to go about this. We have not heard that. We've not heard specifics about whether this driver is armed or not, but LAPD always has to act, and any agency for that matter, they have to act as if this driver could be armed. So they have to take every precaution to be very careful and do what they can to make sure nobody gets injured if anything were to happen like that. Well, I think you're exactly right, Colleen. I think the driver rolled the window down and then rolled it back up. So I don't know if he or she was trying to communicate with police in any sort of way. We've seen this person gesture out the window. Yeah, I can see a hand moving around. The driver looks agitated at this point, which kind of makes sense and goes with everything else we've seen so far. I'm just going to widen out the shot here, just you know, in case anything happens that we don't want to see. And as we see, the driver is now continuing now with those flat tires. Bear with us as we get the most focused shot possible for you guys. And this just kind of goes with everything we've seen so far in this pursuit. The driver of this suspect vehicle now perpendicular with officers here. Yeah, Booth, I copy. Yeah, guys, I'm back with you now. Just getting some more information from our assignment desk. We do know, as you've seen from that ground shot, that this driver is a male, and he appears to be communicating with police in some way, looking very disturbed and upset. LAPD has to be very careful just with how they move forward with this, because this is now a dangerous standoff situation. They know that this driver has been known to back up his vehicle to try and get out of situations like this. So you can see officers getting in their vehicle and pinning it right up against the rear bumper of the vehicle to try and make sure that he doesn't do that again. And we might be in a situation here where the driver is against a curb and against this patrol car, this black and white, against his rear bumper, where he might not have anywhere else to go. So now officers have to work on clearing pedestrians from the area and make sure nobody's in the crossfire, and then they can work on transitioning to more of a standoff mode and try and convince this driver to give it up and do it safely. Booth, sorry, we're talking to the assignment desk here, gathering some more information, and we can confirm that they have shot out one of the rear windows, and that goes back to one of the things I mentioned earlier, where they use some of that less than lethal ammunition to try and shoot out a back window just so they can see through and see inside of a car that has tinted windows all around. So that's what they've done so far. We can see that very large bullet hole in the left rear window, and that's what officers are using now to look inside and also be able to communicate with the driver and yell out commands to him and at least hear what he's saying back to them. Yeah, we did hear that this began with a carjacking. Unknown a lot of the circumstances behind that. We're working on further details as far as that side of it goes. But then LAPD actually ran plates on the vehicle, and they realized that it was a stolen vehicle. So LAPD officers from the Newton Division began their pursuit. When LAPD started their pursuit, this was in the city of LA, around the downtown area, or a little bit removed from there. Suspect came down the 5 freeway, getting on surface streets for a little bit, making a lot of aggressive maneuvers on very tight streets, continuing down the 5 freeway past the 91, eventually making a U-turn on the 5 freeway and going northbound in the southbound lanes. And I think that's the video that we're showing there now, as on the left side of your screen, as the suspect was in the carpool lane, basically using the carpool lane on the southbound side as his own northbound side. A lot of very close calls with oncoming traffic there, eventually turning around and getting back on surface streets in the Buena Park area, continuing on surface streets now to the Lakewood area where we stand now, which is pretty much a standoff situation at the intersection of Bloomfield and Del Amo Boulevard, where LAPD, way out of their range, but since this was their pursuit, they are continuing to effort bringing this one to a safe end. You see LA County Sheriff's deputies also on scene here to try and control traffic and try and get pedestrians out of the way and just make sure that they are safe from that perspective. And then you see where we're at now, where LAPD has used one of their cruisers to try and pin the rear bumper of this car against a curb on Bloomfield Avenue. And they've also used some less than lethal fire to shoot out the rear window, that left rear window of this car, to try and shoot inside and communicate with the suspect. And now we have a little bit of a standoff situation. We haven't seen the window roll down. We haven't seen any obvious motions from the suspect in the past few minutes. So this just becomes a situation where time is on the side of the officers that are here. And the suspect now, with his vehicle pretty much incapacitated, is just kind of waiting it out, and LAPD can wait here all day until the suspect decides to give it up. I'll widen out the shot here and do a little check on that. We don't see any that have pulled up to the scene just quite yet, although it wouldn't surprise me if they are just kind of out of the frame here and making their way a little bit closer to the scene. I don't see any kind of right up front where this main flank of LAPD officers are right now. But it goes without saying that they are on the way. Either LAPD or LA County Sheriff canine officers are on the way here to just add that other little bit of opportunity that the officers have here to bring this to a safe end.
Watch more heart-stopping car chases happening across Southern California. Subscribe here. Thanks for watching. The Chase is on.